Hi, Mia. Hi, Alex. Glad you could come in. Kind of get right into it here. We're doing financial planning, multi-step process. Step one, establish a relationship. We did that at our last meeting. You signed a letter of engagement, which is basically the backbone of the engagement. It's the terms of the agreements, the roles, responsibilities, expectations, and terms of the agreement, of the engagement. And it governs our relationship. Do you have any questions about that? No, I don't think so. Okay, so that brings us to step two, which is compiling the data, which is what you did this recently, and you did a great job of it. I just want to tell you, you did a great job. What you put into this process is what you're going to get out. You gave me accurate, relevant data. So in step three, which is my job, which is analysis, crunching the numbers, the data you gave me allowed me to do a good job of that, and so I'm going to be able to give you accurate and relevant recommendations. Which brings us to step four, which is what we're doing today. It's explaining those relationship or those recommendations, discussing it, defining the goals, figuring out how to get there, and then implementing, which is what we're going to do at the second half of the meeting. And then step five is tracking. We're going to track it periodically over time because just like on any journey, you might start off, but the destination might be different, and you might get off track, and we got to circle back, check the compass, see how we're doing. I'm going to be with you every step of the way on that. So before I get going on recommendation and discussion of the topic, do you have any questions about the process? No. Okay. So what I want to talk to you about today is the inherited funds that your children received from Aunt Bill, who passed in either October or December 2017. There was a contradiction in your data, so I'm going to want to clarify that. It doesn't really have a bearing on this recommendation, but definitely want to clarify. Bradley got $50,000 of municipal bonds. Brea got $48,000 of preferred stock, and Blair got a non-qualified tax-deferred annuity that Bell purchased for $10,000 20 years ago. Has a fair market value of $40,000. First, let's talk about income. Every kid can get unearned income. Independent children have an unearned income limit of $1,050. Unearned income below that does not require a separate return. When they go past that $10,050 unearned income threshold, they have to file a separate return. But they have a standard deduction of $10,050, so double that. So they don't really pay taxes until 2100. So they may have to file, but they don't have to pay till 21. I don't know the coupon rates or the dividend rate for Brea's stock, preferred stock, but she would need to have a pretty high 4.375 return before she would cross that $2,100 or dividend rate before she would cross that $2,100 threshold. But even then, the good thing is preferred stock pays what's known as typically pays qualified dividends, which are taxed at a lower rate, or it's a different rate schedule. So she's going to have she would have to have a 9.79% coupon rate on a $48,000 par value before she have to really pay any taxes. So unless the dividend rate's 9.8 or above, and or the par value, is higher than the 48, she's not gonna have to pay any taxes. Bradley's got municipal bond income. Municipal bond income is generally tax free. So I'm not expecting you to have to pay any taxes, especially since you're in a no income tax state. So I'm not expecting any taxation in 2017 or 2018. Basis. Typically, inherited assets fall under a stepped-up basis rule, where the basis of the inheritor in the asset is determined by the fair market value of the date of death of the deceased. So for Bradley, he's going to have a basis of $50,000, which is the fair market value of Aunt Bell's death, and Brea's going to have a basis of $48,000. Blair has that tax advantage annuity. Unfortunately, it falls under a different rule. The way annuities work is Aunt Bell put in $10,000 20 years ago it got to grow tax deferred, meaning no taxes were paid on it yet. Not tax free, tax deferred. So she didn't pay any taxes on it yet, and there's $30,000 of that. And that is what's known as income of respective descendant, or IRD, meaning it's income that was payable to Aunt Belle, but she had never actually received. So, unfortunately, IRD is not available. It's not eligible for a stepped-up basis rule. So, Blair inherited the whole tax characteristic of that tax advantage vehicle. Annuities are taxed on a LIFO basis. That's last in, first out, meaning the last money into the contract is the first money that has to come out for tax purposes. So since obviously any earnings come after an investment, any money you take out is going to have to be earnings, which is that IRD we talked about, which is taxable. So that puts her in a situation where basically $30,000 of that $40,000 is subject to ordinary income taxation at those compressed trust and estate tax rates that they implemented in 2018. Now, I'm not recommending she do this, but if she were to liquidate that entire annuity in 2018, she would get $10,000 tax-free as a return to capital. That's her basis. And then $30,000 would be subject to that IRD taxation as ordinary income. Going down the schedule, it ended up resulting in $8,709 of taxation on a $40,000 liquidation. That's a 21.77% effective tax rate. Probably not what she wants to do. Like I said, I'm not recommending she does that. Just want to let you know what the situation is. What she needs to do is that she, every kid has that $10,050 plus another $10,050 of unearned income before they start getting taxed. And that's regardless of what kind of income is. IRD, capital gain, doesn't matter. So what she needs to do is take out $2,100 in 2018 and do the same thing every single year up to whatever the limit is that year, so that she can start to convert the taxable asset into non-taxable asset. And it's really not non-taxable, it's really after tax, because she's theoretically taking out taxable distributions. She's just not having to pay taxes on them because she's keeping it under that threshold. Now, if she wanted to accelerate that, because it's going to take a while, she's only going to be able to do $2,100 a year. It's going to take a while to get that all out. If she wanted to accelerate that, she could take another $2,550 to fill up the first bracket. So, which is only 10%. So she could take out $4,650 in 2018. She'd have to pay a 10% rate on the $2,550 that's above the $2,100 that everybody gets for free. So she'd end up paying $255 in taxes on a $4,650 distribution. That's an effective tax rate of 5.48%. And she'll be able to, that would allow her to deplete that whole IRD amount in about 7 years, assuming no growth. Now, that would be a great tax rate to pull it out. Zero, anything below, 5.5 or 0%, that's still a great tax rate. She would benefit from keeping it in there. She's under no obligation to take it out, but, and it would continue to grow tax deferred. However, she would have to take, if she wants to utilize it, she's going to have to take it out eventually. And so if she takes it out when she's 25 or 30, when she's earning some income, her tax rates could easily be much higher than 0 or 5.49% or 4.8%. So I think your best bet is to pull it out each year, pay as little tax as possible, and then she could put it into, like Bradley's got, some municipal bonds, or she could buy some stock and just let that defer, and non-qualified assets that grow, she'll have to pay lower capital gains rates when she eventually sells. So we can discuss options afterwards at a later date once we start pulling this money out. But in the meantime, I really think that the best thing for her to do is to take at least $2,100, preferably $4,650, pay a little bit of tax, and start the process of unwinding that IRD. Do you have any questions about that? Great.